Yo guys, what's good? This is Hubram, and today I'll be breaking down how I made my Curbi remix for Close Your Eyes. This is the first time I'm doing a video in this style, so I'm super excited. So let's dive in. So as you can see, I work in FL Studio, the best DAW in the world. This is how this song sounds like, if you don't know. Yup, so this is how it sounds like. The way this remix actually started was basically Curbi started a remix contest together with his label NWA Productions. Shout out to them. I mean, I always like what Curbi does and I really like the song. And when I first heard the song, I already had a pretty clear vision of how I wanted it to be. If you guys don't know the original track is very melodic, and I kind of like wanted to give it more groove and make it more, I'd say, techie, which this is something I really like to do with remixes. It's you take a track but you don't change it too much from the original and you kind of like spice it up in your own way, if that makes sense. So we're gonna dive into how I made everything. So Curbi provided the stems. I didn't really do much because the stems were already wet and filled with his own effects, like this vocal, for example. It looks like I have a lot of effects, but honestly, they're not even, see, it's turned off right now. And the reason for that is as we go through the track, I'm automating like the delays and filters. So yeah, that's why I'm doing that. Then I got my Reese bass in here. Again, nothing too crazy on it, just the EQ, some filtering for automations and some sidechain. This is Repro that I'm using for the Reese. It's an amazing plugin. I highly recommend it if you're like looking for those analog style sound. It's acting like a pad in a way, like a support for the rest of the pads that I have in here. This is just like a little sample that I found on Splice and I looped it, and together with the bass. And again, also in here, there's just an EQ and some sidechain. Usually like I put everything that I automate in the bottom of the chain. And also I like to kind of like group my automations under each instrument. Helps me to stay a bit more organized, because if you've ever used FL, you know how easy it is to get very messy with your project. So I like to, whenever I automate something, I put the automations underneath that instrument. And then I keep track like that. Yeah, and then there's some effects in here. This is from Curbi. So this is basically, it was like a tail for the reverb for his leads. I just reversed it. I like chopped it, reversed it, and made like this transition. This is basically how the track starts. Pretty simple, as I said. And then it continues. I add some shakers and those vocal chops that Curbi made. So yeah, just running like that, building up the groove. Again, there's this little reverse thingy, and this is where it actually gets kind of interesting, because this is like the start of the build-up. So I add a kick drum to kind of like start building up the hype for the drop. So, and I introduce the leads. So the leads are basically, it's a synth, but I consolidated it. As you can see, had a shit ton of automations of like the reverbs and cutoff filters and also the stereo image and all that stuff, and it became a bit heavy on my CPU, so I just I consolidated it. It gets crazier towards the second drop, where it's like there's a bit more delays going on, that if I consolidated it, I could get it to be a bit more tight and on the mix as I like it, and there won't be much stuff clashing and going on, and also it will help my CPU to breathe a little bit. It's just like 2 layers of plucks. Yeah, it's an EQ, an LFO tool. This is the reverbs that I told you that I'm sidechain. Could have done that with a P controller. I don't know why. I guess I was. Same thing with the delay. The delay actually is coming later for the second drop. So yeah. And I got Rift, which is an amazing plugin by Minimum Audio, one of my favorites that I use all the time. This is a EQ that I'm kind of like using as a filter. It's just like being automated during the build-up, and I'm clipping it. Pretty simple stuff, pretty straightforward stuff. So now I just have this consolidated part, which, as you can see, I also didn't do much. Some more delay automations, a little bit more EQing. As you can see, this is exactly the automation I was talking about. Kind of like filter automations. Then it opens up. That's that lead. It builds up together with some snares and risers. And obviously with the same respace pads, drums that we had from before, and the vocal chops and everything. I'm starting to slowly introduce elements from the drop, such as this synth layer. And we got the... That's also in the drop. I took it, placed it in the build-up to emphasize what's coming. So yeah, so all together for the build-up sounds like this. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Next, the drop. Basically, in the build-up, as I showed you, there's these vocal chops that are building up, right? I thought it would be really cool to kind of like make them play on like each fourth. And it creates this like cool little rhythm together with the bass. The bass is also really straightforward. Just a sub bass that is playing on every offbeat. So on this bass, there's nothing special. Some EQ, decapitator to just like saturate it a little bit, and UAD Pool Tech, an amazing EQ. I love that one. It's also just boosting a little bit of those lows. And I have the kilohertz filter for automation and more sidechain. The vocal doesn't have much crazy on it as well, just some EQ and some compression. Yeah, and then together with the drums, I got this kick drum, just an EQ. So what we have now is just this. But it's still pretty empty. What I like to do with these like tech house drops is to add some stuff in between to make it a little bit more interesting and engaging for the listener. So I have this bass stab that I made. Yeah, I processed it as well with some EQing, OTT, and clipping. Together with the kick, it just gives that really like dope punch, you know? And I really like that, and I feel like it really complemented like the hit of the drop, especially after that build-up. That's that little tiny thing that adds a lot, in my opinion. We get into these interesting fills here. So this is a little Reese bass. What I have on it is Rift, as I told you before, amazing plugin. So basically what Rift does is just like a distortion plugin, but it has a lot of cool stuff in it, like delays and stereo imaging, and you can filter, automate stuff, and yeah, do some crazy stuff. I really like this plugin. Literally listen to it without it. Like, it's still nasty, but I wanted like to contain it a bit more. Rift and some EQing, mono compatible. So I just made it a bit more centered. And then I have these bass shots, kind of donks, which also are from Current. It's another minimal audio plugin that I really like. It's a dope synth, kind of like Serum but different. They have some cool sounds in there, so highly recommend. And yeah, what I have on that is nothing, because it sounded so good that I just didn't feel like I need to add or change anything. And these parts, which are just Serum, it's just like a bass, so without anything it sounds like this. And with everything, so again, it's just some EQ and compression and clipping again, and some sidechain, and it has this little thing here, which is also kind of like a Reese bass that I put a Rift on it, and this EQ, just boosting some of those mids and removing those highs, because I wanted to keep that deep feeling in that sound. Without everything, it sounds like this. And with the... So it's like literally two effects, but it makes something cool, you know? Sometimes less is more. Oh, and I forgot this sound. So what it is, it's one of the sounds that Curbi provided in the stems. Sounds like this. I just put an EQ and a very short delay and a clipper, and obviously some sidechain. And as you can see, the delay really hits. It hits very fast, and it creates this really cool effect, I guess. You can even try some cooler stuff by panning it if you really want to have fun with it. So altogether, this section sounds like this. And that's really what this entire housey drop has to offer. Then the second half of the drop, we introduce the vocal again, the original vocal, with those synths that I was mentioning earlier. It's basically the original synths that, again, were in the stems, they sounded like this from the original track. It sounded like that. And what I did, I just chopped some cool parts from it to make it fit the current groove I have, and I came up with this. And as far as processing goes, it's just some EQ and filtering for automating, as you can see here in the buildups. I basically chopped the close your eyes, so it's like... And some more drums, so like shakers. Just like a little cool loop I found. Another loop. And these rides. And yeah, I believe that's it for the drop. Got this like in between kicks. Get that groove going, keep it moving. Yeah, just making it a bit more interesting for the listener. And after the first drop, we kind of go into this like post-drop moment. And this sound as well is, I told you before, it's a Reese bass with Rift on it, of course. And some ozone imaging. For the post drop, what I have here, it's those pads again from before, from the breaks, with the groove playing, but with a bit less stuff. So I'm removing the clap, for example. This loop has like a little rim in it, but it's like pretty subtle. So I was like, okay, it's kind of cool. It's not as like, it's not as punching, I'd say, as the original clap. So yeah, you can kind of feel like, okay, we're going off from the drop into a new section. And then we're going to the second break. These are 808s from Sublab. Again, there's some decapitators, some pool tech EQ. Sounds like this. And I feel like for the break beat that I have in here playing, it really complemented the entire vibe. Kind of sounded like a cool wind effect. Also found it, I believe, either on Splice or Loop Cloud, I'm not sure, with this break beat. All I did here was format shifting, and I low passed, and it sounds like this without. And with, I think it's kind of cool with everything. Back with those vocal chops in here and the original vocal. So basically we're going from what I call the post drop, or you can say like the, I don't know, post chorus, whatever you want to call it, into the second break. We still have the groove here, but then we're moving through a section with no groove at all. I really wanted to emphasize those delays on the vocal here, so it could really feel like you're breaking off from the drop and going into a very like euphoric little moment, kind of like a raise your hands up in the air type of moment. Sound like this. What we have here is exactly the same as we had in the first breakdown, entering to the second build-up, which here I had a bit more fun with the plucks and I messed around with delays a bit more. Making it more messy, but still controlling the messiness, if that makes sense. Sounded very dirty, which I really liked. For the second drop, my approach was I wanted to maybe try like a little techno type of groove. So that's what I started introducing in this build-up. Like with those kicks. And I'm teasing those Reese basses from before. So like this. So we're basically having the leads, the vocal, everything is playing at once to build as much energy as possible. Also those wind samples. Then I got this moment with the Reese that I showed you before. The kicks with the Reese to create this very like breakdown effect before the drop hits. So it sounds like that. The Reese bass has like this little filter automation here to make it from like less heavy on the low ends to a bit more. So yeah, because I really wanted those kicks to hit. And without this automation, it's kind of like taking energy from the kick. I really like this feel. I found it as well, I believe, in Splice, like a little hat swing type of groove. I just dragged it here, as you can see, just a groove. And I just took this section, which I found kind of cool. Because it built so much energy, I had to build even more tension. So this is where the delays come into play. This little delays automation that I did before. The reverb automations together with the vocal. Just that same synth with riff on it. So yeah, as you can see, there's the rides, there's this hats groove, more hats playing around. This little sub layer that is sidechained with the kick. It's like a rumble layer. As you can see, also put some riff on it to distort it crazy, and I filtered it and make sure it's fully mono with some Pultec EQ, and together with the kick it sounds like this. I had also this little reverse kick. I feel like it kind of like adds more punch. And in this drop I have a different kick from the house drop because I wanted to have those techno vibes. I needed a bigger kick with a bigger punch. So that's exactly what I got here. Still have those vocal chops from before. And everything is, as I said, playing at once. The bass shot, the leads. So like those like winds effect really created a nice like atmospheric effect, I would say. In here I also took a break from the kicks because I introduced these new percussions. It sounds like this. So it's again the same feels from the house drop, but just the groove is way different because of those new percussions. Obviously those like more techno-y kick and feeling type of like hats and loops that I have here. So honestly, for drums, I have nothing more than just an EQ. Could be some clipping here and there because to create that extra tightiness and punchiness. That's for the drums, very simple, because I feel like I almost forgot to cover that, but yeah, there's just nothing much to it. After this techno drop, it goes in again to like the outro, kind of like a post drop like I did in the house drop. So I remove the claps, remove some of the drums, remove some of the elements like the leads, add the vocal back. We're gonna feel like a closure is coming. And that's it. That's basically it for the track. Now for the master chain, what I have here is the Endless Smile. The Endless Smile is, I'm using it for the build-ups, and I use it here for the outro to kind of like add more tension and roominess. As you can see here, it builds up. So it adds like some reverbs. And then this is some fruity balance to, yeah, just like volume automations. Then I have the Mag EQ here. I like to boost some of the high frequencies here. This is the 5K air gain to add some air to the mix. Some black box, I literally just drop it, turn on the alt tube and the air, kind of creating like this nice saturation. Then some compression, controlling some of the resonance here. Imaging to make sure everything is where it needs to be placed in the stereo field. Then the God particle, which does like basically limiting and some I believe it does some multi-band compression, and that's basically it. That's my Close Your Eyes remix. As I said, it's not really a complicated project. It's pretty easy. So thank you so much for Curbi and Singers Believing for liking my tune and believing in it. If you guys haven't heard it yet, go check it out. It's out now. It got released like almost a year ago. If you haven't checked it already, go check it out now. Let me know if you guys like this style of videos. I'll make sure to keep making more of these. This is the first time I'm actually doing one of these, so it's super exciting. Let me know what other videos you want me to make. Other than that, if you guys have any questions about the track here or anything that I do, you can drop it in the comments, DM me on Instagram, whatever. I'm gonna have my socials attached right here. And make sure to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, subscribe if you guys want to see more videos like this. And I'm gonna catch you guys in the next videos. Peace.